Hey everybody, welcome back to the Desmo Works channel, and we are back on with part 2 of the Ducati 748S strip down video, in which I'm going to be taking the two sets of heads apart and just having a quick visual inspection of everything, just to see if we've got any sort of potential issues in there. As a quick update as to where we were from the first video, where we found the damage inside the cases, I've spoken with the owner. And he's got a number of spare engines that he's classing as bitzer engines, so he's bringing over another engine and we're going to strip that down and hopefully have a good set of cases to use from there. We'll then make the decision on whether we attempt to salvage the other cases. The damage that's in them is in a stress area for the engine, so I'm a little bit nervous to leave that as is, because I wouldn't want to pass that problem on to somebody else. And the other option of welding up the damage and making it good, you introduce heat stress into aluminium casings. So whilst it would be stronger than it probably currently is, it would still be weaker than an unmolested set of cases, if you sort of grasp where I'm coming from. So we're going for the option of hopefully a good set of cases. Okay, so what are we going to be doing today? So if you remember, I got to the point in the last video where we'd completely stripped the engine down, but I'd left the heads and the barrels together ready to be stripped down. So at the moment I've got the vertical one on the bench here, so let's strip it down. First job we've got to do is separate the cylinder from the head, because it's stuck. As this has been a rebuilt engine by somebody else, I don't know whether it's been Hylamard or some sort of gasket sealant put on the gasket before it's put down, because I've never had them so stiff together. But do remember that there's dowels in there that do also cause a little bit of a problem in allowing them to stick together. So I'm going to get a plastic mallet and just give it a little bit of gentle persuasion and see if it comes apart. If not, then what I'll do is I'll probably just put a very sharp edge in between the gasket surface and just see if I can just help it prise apart. Okay, let's do this now. Okay, so that took a fair amount of persuasion. As you can see, it's caused by the dowels rusting into their locating positions in the head. I wasn't leaving with a screwdriver, I just kept that in there so that it didn't close up when I was hitting from the other side, so it helps put a bit of leverage in there. I think we're going to have the same hassle with the other head, but that's at least got our vertical cylinder off, which you can see the original cross hatching in it still. Just need to do some dimensional checks on that at some point. Okay, we can see valves now. Quite a bit of carbon build up, not a massive amount, but seats look reasonable at the moment. Obviously we'll see in more detail when we get the valves out. Okay, let's get all the covers off now. So we'll take the valve covers off, we'll take the rocker pin covers off, and we'll loosen the cams and the bearings ready to come out. Okay, so next step is to remove the cams. Now if you remember from other videos, what I need to do is I need to loosen off the nearest to the pulley opening arm on its rocker pin. So when you look at it, that is always the top pin, is the opener rocker. So we've got to take that one out and that one out, and that will enable us to get enough room to be able to remove the cams. Okay, so camshafts are out. So what we got to do now is just strip this all down. What you'll be noticing is I'm using a box for every valve, and that's because these parts are going away. I might not be doing this work for a little while, and I want to make sure I've got the valves matched up with the original opening arms, closing arms and rocker pins and original shims as well, just in terms of a little bit OCD, I suppose, in keeping everything matched. So what I've got to do now is start breaking everything down. So the first thing I want to do is get the other opening arms off, and then we'll start taking the shims apart, pop the valves out, and then get the closing arms out. That one was well and truly stuck in. There we have it, one fully stripped head. What I'll do is I'll just remove these, this last cover here, just so it's ready to be cleaned up and be painted by the owner. Okay, same again with the horizontal head. So let's get this cylinder off first. Same thing again, really rusty dowels. Also had the old style fibre gaskets in them. I should have pointed that out on the first one. So these are the 1mm thick ones, which means you don't technically have to worry about setting your squish. Okay, let's get all the covers off again. Same again, let's get the cams out. So let's take the top two arms out. That cover has been forced in. Ooh, nasty. Nasty, nasty. See all of this mess around here. Same. Big gouges. So somebody is taking it out without knowing what they're doing, and has damaged it. That is not a rotating surface, so you can clean that up with some fine wet and dry or emery cloth, whatever you want to call it, like a 600 or 800 grit. You just got to be careful of this oil waste. You need to blow that back through. Likewise, you can just give that a gentle clean up. But that, I don't know what somebody's done there. I mean, it's just, the surface is horrendous. Left on something, or knocked against something, or stored against something bad, but we'll need to do some work to clean that up as well. Right, let's pop the valves out on this side. Just need to prop the valves on something. Just push that down. Okay, horizontal head stripped. Let's put that to one side. Now we've got the heads apart and stripped down to component form, I'm just going to take you through what I initially am looking for in terms of condition. So you want to look at the wear pattern on the hard chrome on the action areas of the rocker arms. So this one's got a little bit of wear, but no signs of cracking in the hard chrome and no flaking, which is good. Just have a look at the back face as well, which is okay. Same again on the closer. Just looking where, oh right, okay, so you can just see we've got a little bit of cracking in the hard chrome, so we're going to have to look at replacing this one because it's starting to go. And then just looking for general wear and tear and where the shim operates. Valve, the valve face where it hits the seat has got a little bit of pitting in it, which is to be expected, but it looks to be in reasonable condition. Then on the cams, you obviously just want to check that the lobes have no signs of scoring, that there's no flat spots on any of the curves. There's a bearing in there as well, remember, so just give it a feel, just trying to sense if there's any play in it, either axially or radially. Just check seal is there, obviously we'll be replacing that. Look at the back mounting part of the cam where it sits in the other bearing, just to check that the condition's okay. And then obviously the little lubrication holes, just check for any signs of blockage. So not too bad. There's an example of a worn closer arm versus the damaged one. So that's just where you can see where the hard chrome's starting to go. And Ducati went through a spate of engines that had this problem. I mean, that's quite minor, but it's better to change it now that we're doing the work on the engine, because it's excessive wear really, because that will just propagate and get worse, and then you'll lose the whole of that hard coating and start doing damage either to the rocker arm or to the actual camshaft. Okay, the other piece that we're looking at, just look at the valve seats, looking for any big gouges or damage. The faces on these look relatively good actually, so they should hopefully clean up quite nicely. Then look in the combustion area for any signs of detonation. Now that shows itself as like little pitting holes, as if something had been contacting it, but this is relatively clean. A little bit of carbon build-up, but again nothing massive. Checking inside the waterways, which this looks like it's been pretty well looked after from a water point of view. It's had antifreeze in there because there's no signs of corrosion. Then obviously checking all of the cover faces, making sure that there's no nicks and dents. Again, these look reasonable. Oh, there's a little bit of denting in there, but not too excessive. And then just the head face in general, which again, this will get cleaned up before we put it back on to get rid of some of the remnants of the gasket material and that, so nothing too bad there. And I'm just soaking the dowels at the moment with WD-40 to try and get them loose and out. Okay. Okay, so there we have it. Both the heads are stripped down. I'll go through and just finish doing my initial checks on all of the wear components. As we saw on the closing, one of the closing rockers, we've just got some chrome flaking away, so we need to do something about that. But I'll check all the rest of the valves, the other head over properly, just ready to speak to the owner about advising what we need to replace in the engine. Hope you found that enjoyable. If you did, chuck us a like. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more content on this project and the 848 engine build, and hopefully finishing some of my own projects. Alright, see you at the next video then. Cheers, bye.